Starfleet Underground. Every week, we'll take a look at the latest Star Trek news and then check out a current or classic episode of Star Trek. Travis surfs the Spacebook. Reed gets a free dinner concert and a bullet in the leg. And Archer can't even make a proper first contact with his own species. The Enterprise visits Terra Nova, where the diggers are delicious, the natives have machine guns, and nobody likes Shale.
So really, the cloaking is still fine. I think we might have set a record for the longest time a ship has been cloaked without having to redo the
longest cloak.
Oh, we're on. Okay, cool. No, I was just conferring with one of the engineering people that they were supposed to report back to you, Rocky, that I think we made a Starfleet record.
I was in the toilet, sorry. A record, that's cool. I like records.
Yeah, that we've been the longest cloaked vessel without having to redo the lithium crystals. We've been cloaked nonstop for weeks.
Sweet.
Well, you know, the energy efficient crystals are really good with the new cloaking system.
Yeah.
Which worked really, really well. So I'm pleased by that. Well, first off, since the light is on, welcome everybody to Starfleet Underground. My name is Nathan Adams. I'm captain of this wonderful vessel. And we have our full crew complement today, starting off with, of course, our science officer.
Hi, I'm Heather Ferris. I'm the science officer. And do you guys remember Stan the Tribble?
Yeah.
He's following me around, but he's transparent. I think he's a ghost. Has anyone seen him lately?
You're saying he's invisible?
I put my hand right through him.
So if he's invisible, how are we supposed to see him?
You put your hand through him, but how do you know he's there?
He's transparent.
Okay, so he's not invisible, he's transparent.
Wait,
well,
if he's transparent and you put your hand through him, that means he's ghost-like?
Are we have an out-of-phase Tribble?
I haven't seen this Tribble in a while, and all of a sudden he started following me, and I thought I tripped over him, but I went right through him, and then I sort of smacked him in the head, and then my hand went right through him, and I'm like, oh, I got to tell you guys.
He's out of phase. Then if you can go through him and then hit him in the head, then he's got to be out of phase.
We got a ghost Tribble.
We've been running the cloak so long, you must have rolled through one of the phase inverters or something.
It. I bet that's it.
Did he go with you on an away mission? Did something happen with the transporter buffer or
I felt a presence, but I didn't see anything.
That's when, Patrick stands too close to you. Everybody feels that presence.
That happens in the transporter a lot, actually.
It's the presence of greatness.
Seriously.
Anytime you're on a mission with number one, always a presence felt.
Yeah, he's right there. You feel him behind you, and you go to look, and he leans forward, whispers in your ear, and says, I'm protecting you from behind. It's really...
Just don't bend down and pick anything up.
No.
I'll be your number two.
He never says I've got your six, but he wants to.
By the way,
yes.
This podcast is not meant for kids, just so you guys know.
Well, yeah.
It's not.
Kids, if you're listening, you got to leave. If it's your birthday today, welcome to the podcast. If
it's your birthday. It's your birthday.
Don't even bother listening.
Go ahead.
It's your birthday.
Not meant for kids.
No, it is not. So, wait, you didn't finish introducing yourself. You talked about the Tribble.
I introduced myself. We're good.
You did? Okay. Next, we have our number one that likes to give everyone a number two, Patrick.
I'm going to give you number two. I'm going to number two all over your face.
I know that's your desire.
There's a website for that, sir.
I'm Patrick.
I'm not German.
Number one. I'm also the foreign species liaison and the computer guy. Welcome aboard, people.
Is that offensive to Germans?
I don't know if it's offensive
or not,
but they're known for that.
Yeah.
So there's
that.
So
999.
So
the 999 plan.
And we have now the person who is on a separate plan. Well, it's about that guy who says he's going to talk to these German girls, and the guy says, "There's no way in hell you're going to be able to talk to them." And he goes, "Well, I'm going to try." And he goes over and he goes to talk to him. And what happened is that he's there for a while, and he comes back to the table and he says, "Well, did you get anywhere with them? Did you get their phone number?" He goes, "No, but they kept rating me, and I guess over in Germany I'm a 9." They kept saying 9, 9, 9.
Oh, 9.
So
and that's our show for today.
There you go. Well, to follow that up, hi everybody. I'm Rocky. I'm the engineer of the show and the ship, and I just want to shout out to Science Division on Instagram. They've been posting up pictures of Tribbles in activities, sometimes in cosplay. Quite entertaining.
I love that.
No, that's pretty cool. We're going to have to definitely check that out. Also, what we're going to talk about, one, is that we're being brought to you by Section 31. Why they keep financing us, we really don't know, nor do we care. We get a spiffy new ship out of it. So we're quite happy about that. So that works out really well. And on this vessel, this is the podcast where our ship is almost perpetually cloaked. So there's that as well. Next, we have any corrections?
Oh, let me check subspace here. And
why do you always check just as we start? Oh my God, check before we start.
But then I wouldn't have any time to put the sound effect in.
Oh, this is true.
What if there was like a correspondence like 2 seconds before, you asked them that? So that's why I had to check right away.
This just in. Nope.
Exactly. There's nothing just in.
You lucky the crew kind of likes you.
I'm the one who repairs their computers, so they better like me.
Hey, Patrick, I got some like troubleshooting problems. Could you come over here and help me?
No.
Damn.
Nice trick. It wouldn't work, though.
Now, I will say also, for you guys who are wondering, it'll be in the show link, that the crew had an away mission here with our science officer and our engineer to do something called Trek Mad Libs. You got to see it.
It's a show called Stardate Today. We made an appearance on, and that was a lot of fun. They had us do Trek Mad Libs.
And it was hysterical. It was hysterical.
My God. I had a brain fart when she told me to think of something silly. I could think of, everything I thought of was R-rated, and she was like, okay, it's PG-13. And I'm like, oh God, I can't do PG-13. And then she asked me to think of something silly, and everything I thought of was like, Tribbledicks or, TardigradeBoobs, or, it was like everything was like R-rated that I could think of, and I couldn't think of anything like PG-13, and I'm just saying they're like,
Thank God you didn't use the one where we had in the galley, which was what you call Clitwithahat. It's like, what the hell is that?
Clit on a hat? What?
Clitwithahat. I just did. The visual image was just no. Okay.
Right. And replicator fires are scary, so that's not silly.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, I get inbox messages from Stardate Today all the time.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know you guys were a thing.
You must be important, sir.
I am impotent.
Shooting out.
No, that was seriously, it was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see what they do this weekend because they're going to have other podcasts on the show, and it was great silliness.
It was
fun.
You
guys want to be able to watch it, and since the kids are already out the room, the adults, you can tell the kids that's one podcast they can actually watch.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you get a chance to see Heather and Rocky in all their glory.
Yep, and if you guys want to link to it, go to our website, starfleetunderground.com, go all the way down to the bottom where our media is, and you'll find it there.
Now, next, we're going to go ahead and jump on the news. You have any news this week, Heather?
Season 2 of Picard has begun filming. The show has been delayed multiple times so far because of the pandemic. It's a bit hard since Star Trek Picard is shot in Los Angeles, California, but it helps that Patrick Stewart has been vaccinated.
Outstanding. That's good news. Something to look forward to. And how about you there, Pat? You got any news for us?
I do. I don't remember if people will remember this, but Billy Campbell was on an episode of Next Generation quite a while back as a character named Okona, and he is going to be reprising his role on Star Trek Prodigy.
Oh, how cool is that?
The Nickelodeon cartoon series, yeah.
That's going to be cool. Is that out yet? Is Prodigy out yet? I don't think so.
No.
Apparently that one's done in production, but it's not out yet.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting to see that there was a huge roundup on one of the Trek sites of all the productions and where they're standing right now. Discovery they started back in November, actually, but production is slower for them, but they're still doing production. They're still in production. In fact, I saw a tweet from one of their editors talk about how his episode he's editing started production the other day. So they're still doing stuff. Picard's in production, so that's cool. Prodigy's already got one down, and Lower Decks they're talking about how they're on episode 209 and they're about to go to 210 or whatever. And so we're waiting for it all to start. It's coming through the flow. So there's Trek on the way. They're working on it.
That's pretty outstanding. We're going to have a lot of stuff to watch all in a row. So I'm looking forward to that. Including
Strange New Worlds.
I got one other thing. It's little bit of controversy, though. So Marina Sirtis, everyone, Deanna Troi, obviously, had tweeted the other day. She said, "Don't get me wrong, my heart bleeds for what Texans are going through right now. But the mean girl in me says you get the government you deserve, and they have voted Republican across the board for the last 20 years. Well, this has stirred up a shitstorm of controversy.
They already had a snowstorm, so now they got a shitstorm.
Exactly. So people are like,
oh man, their replicators weren't working either.
No. Well, it's fucked up. It's really fucked up. I've seen people on YouTube in Texas telling their story. A pipe will break and they come back to their house because there was no heat. So they went somewhere else and they come back. Whole fucking thing's flooded because one little pipe broke. I've got friends who moved down to the boyfriend's cousin's girlfriend's house because that's the only place that had heat. When the electricity goes out, Texans aren't used to really, pumping a lot of heat through places without propane and propane accessories, or get the heater plugged into the outlet. Well, that doesn't work because the outlet's out because there's no power, and they don't burn fireplaces in a lot of these places. So yeah, it's pretty traumatic down there in Texas, and we're feeling for you.
Well, yeah, but the thing with this tweet though is people are reading into it what they want to read into it and saying that she's just being, a hateful, spiteful, bitch.
So this whole thing the whole Twitter thing, when people start fighting on Twitter, is kind of where I start to tune out. I look for Twitter for funny stuff. I look for Twitter for information. I don't look for
pictures of Nathan.
Sometimes, yeah, that's kind of funny. Sometimes I look for...
Is that what you were doing on there?
But sometimes you get on Twitter, people get political. And once they get political, it all goes ugly very fast.
Yeah. And now the power companies are sticking it to them cost-wise, to the consumers.
It's not a pretty picture all around.
I heard some of their power bills are crazy.
Yeah, like $8,000.
That's insane.
I tell you what, you drop off one little antimatter power generator at the right place, everyone's going to be happy.
I tried to get them to let us do that, but they said, no prime directive, you can't do it.
The amount of gas that Nathan generates, he could power the entire state.
Well, the amount of hot air you guys blow out, we could have spun those windmills around for days.
I might do a city, Patrick, but you got the whole Western Seaboard, so there's that.
Oh my.
Well, anyway, regardless of what is going on, we send our love and our energy to the people of Texas and hope that you guys get through.
Oh, yeah, thinking of you guys.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Please.
We'd send you a heater, but the fucking mail takes too long to ship it there,
Well, you can't get on the roads. They're all frickin' iced over.
Exactly. So we can't help now.
Well, and our transporter's not working right now.
The transporter doesn't work, so yeah.
Well, why don't we all just go to Cancun?
I wasn't going to quite mention Cancun.
Oh, my.
Okay, we're going to move on to Rocky's news. So go ahead, Rocky.
You know what? I mentioned this a couple of weeks back, I think. Woman in Motion is this documentary about Nichelle Nichols, and it is phenomenal. I saw it last night, and it was way better than I thought it was going to be. They talked about all kinds of stuff with the space program and the space shuttles, and I did not realize she was friends with one of the astronauts that we lost on Challenger. So there's a moment where you see that and just like, oh man, she knew those people. A lot of those people were actually recruited because of her work in the 70s. She worked with NASA to help spice up and colorize and diversify the recruitments going into NASA for the astronauts, because we were getting a lot of, white people. We wanted to get a little color in the organization and wanted to get some flavor, wanted to bring some women in, and because women could do this shit too. They just didn't know that back in the 70s for some reason.
Oh, no. We knew.
Oh, they just didn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was fucked up. It was fucked up. It even had a Russian woman astronaut, a cosmonaut at that point. And America was like head up their ass.
I love Nichelle Nichols.
Oh, she's so good. She had a whole production company based off of stuff like this. She spent months of her life helping them recruit. And what was the stat? It went like, before they had like 100 applications or something like that. And then after her effort, it was way up over. It was a lot more people. It was, I can't remember the numbers, but they had it at the end of the show. It was like, this is how much of a significant difference she made in her efforts. And it was freaking amazing and wonderful.
Where can we watch
those
that?
People that want, exactly. Thank you.
I got it on Apple TV. I think it's out there on Amazon as well. Don't quote me on that, but it's on the net. It's on the net now, and you can go get it, rent it, buy it, whatever. I bought it.
Whoop.
It's definitely worth to have it in the collection. So we've had a lot of news and a lot of topics today. So we're actually starting the show a little late. So hope you guys don't mind. And we're going to go ahead and let Heather earn her billet today. Heather?
Aye, Captain. Yes, sir. So this episode, we are doing Star Trek Enterprise Season 1, Episode 6, Terra Nova. It first aired October 24th, 2001, and it was directed by LeVar Burton.
Woohoo! Woo-woo! Jordy!
Love him. Okay, so teaser, Ghost Town. Archer decides Enterprise needs to take a vacation to a ghost town called Terra Nova. Travis does some researching before they get there, and it is a long-lost colony which is sure to have a few surprises up its sleeve.
Well, actually, Travis knew about Terra Nova because he said that as a boomer, he knew about that
I didn't
mystery.
say he didn't do research beforehand. I'm just saying he's doing more research.
He was searching their web, man. He was looking at their blog.
Well, yeah, as a boomer, though, he said that was one of the great mysteries that he grew up on was that, what happened to the colony on Terra Nova. And he always wanted to go there one day.
Yeah.
It's kind of like people wanted to know what happened with Roanoke, and they finally figured out what happened to the colony of Roanoke. Yeah, everybody was excited.
Yeah, the witches ate them, right?
Yeah.
No, witches didn't eat them.
No?
Or like the long lost city of Atlantis.
No, they found out what happened to Roanoke. They found out that a lot of the people who in Roanoke had actually wound up integrating with the Native Americans that were there. They did DNA trace and everything. They found a lot of them had intermarried and everything. So they didn't disappear. They just got absorbed. So,
quote unquote.
Yeah.
Like the blob.
Yeah, so they found people actually living in the area that were direct descendants from people from Roanoke, were like less than 20 miles away or 30 miles away from where the colony actually was. It was a trip.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool. Okay, the beginning of it, you can see everybody's really excited because now you get a chance to see a mystery. It's like, what happened to the colony? Let's go. And everyone's researching the hell out of it. So that was pretty cool. And you get a chance to see the pilot actually is going to leave the ship. Hey.
And this episode, going back to LeVar Burton, this episode is like the first time LeVar Burton has directed a Star Trek Enterprise episode, and he directed 8 episodes across 4 seasons.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I found interesting? So they get down to the planet.
We haven't got there yet.
Next section.
I find that interesting too, eventually.
Yeah.
So the title episode, it is derived from Latin and it means New Earth. And on the pictures, did you guys notice that one of the colonists was Constantoga? I think you say his name.
Conestoga.
Thank you. He is seen in the files displayed on the monitor in sickbay, and this is the makeup supervisor, Michael Westmore.
Oh, that's where his appearance was. Okay.
Yeah, it was in the pictures.
That's pretty sneaky.
Yep.
It is, which is pretty cool.
That's why they had great makeup. But, well, that's a spoiler because we haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, I guess we can jump to the next section.
Next section. Act 1, Ghosted. So during lunch, T'Pol initiates a history lesson on Terra Nova. This was the first Earth colony outside of our solar system, and unfortunately, there was a fight and both sides ghosted each other. When Enterprise gets there, their scans show no life, so Archer and the away team take a shuttle down to investigate. They'd get a glimpse of someone and then follow them into a series of caves. The occupants aren't too happy with this home break-in and attack, shooting old-style guns with bullets. Reed is injured and abandoned while the rest of the crew barely escapes.
Okay, so, I mean, you would think they'd learn their lessons about caves after Strange New World.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
The breaking and entering thing again. Yes. Why are we just charging into this place? I love that Reed at least had the common decency to say, no, let me go first, sir.
I was like, okay, another cave, and you're just going to just go right on in and,
But this one's occupied and they have weapons.
Well, the last one was occupied too, but it was just, in your head.
They get out there, they see this radiation. First off, I didn't know Vulcans can do a swivel hip walk. So that was surprising to see it go. She's like doing a sexy saunter when they get off the craft and they're on to looking at the colony. And he's explaining to her. Yeah, it was kind of like that. So, and it's like, well, this is the bulkhead. The ships were made to be taken apart. And he's giving a little history lesson, which is a nice way for the writers to give us the history lesson at the same time, which was pretty cool.
At the beginning, though, the history lesson thing, Vulcans don't know about all of Earth's early expeditions. And so then the Trip is like, oh, yeah, well, we know all about Vulcans. And she's like, oh, yeah, name one. And then Trip is like tripped. He's like,
yeah, that's funny. It's like, well, history wasn't my strong suit.
Yeah, that was never my best subject.
You know, don't run your mouth around a Vulcan. She'll fucking get you on the truth all the way. The logic, you cannot fault the logic of a Vulcan.
Well,
so that was funny.
I mean, unless you're Cybok.
Whole nother issue with logic right there. Also, they called this the Great Experiment. And I'm like, didn't they call that the Great Experiment on something else? Didn't they say that Excelsior was the Great Experiment?
Anything called the Great Experiment does not end well.
There's a lot of great experiments. So
yeah, I just like that phrase. I've only heard it in Star Trek. And I thought I heard that in Star Trek 3. Where there she is.
Madame Curie did a great experiment and it ended up killing her.
I like to keep my experiments not so great.
Mm-hmm.
Mediocre experiments are the best way to go.
And what happened to leave no man behind?
Yes, they just abandoned him.
Well, they had to, because if they went in there, they would have got slaughtered. They're in an environment they didn't know.
We're not going to leave it. We're going to come back, but, we're getting shot at.
And they're using, like, machine guns. So it's like, wait, what the hell?
They're like, no, peace good.
Machine Gun Kelly.
No, peace good. Let's get out of here.
It's like when they get back to the ship, is he dead? No. Oh, crap. We got to go back for him then.
Oh, hell no.
That's funny.
Okay, so they get to the colony before they go to the cave, and they're looking at all the remnants around, and then they see that bicycle. And I'm like, wait, there's a bicycle on another planet. Okay, that's kind of cool. But then he spins the wheel, and you're looking at the tire, and like, wait a minute, that sucker's inflated. That would be flat in like 2 weeks, and it's been how many years?
70.
70 years.
70.
That thing wouldn't last 7 weeks without losing some air. I can't keep airing my tires longer than like a month or two. I don't understand this.
Don't they have bike tires that don't require air?
No, those ones do it too.
It could have been solid rubber.
I don't know, man.
Could have been solid rubber.
Super special future tires.
Or maybe they still had the technology that still worked was one of the bicycle pumps.
I just figured it was because it was made in the 90s.
Maybe it was self-pumping.
Oh, geez, self-pumping.
That's a whole nother issue.
Oh, my God.
That's a whole nother Star Trek podcast.
After dark.
And they turn around and they look and they shine the flashlight up. And that would have got me to leave right away. You see a bunch of rugrats all looking down at you.
Sitting up there looking down at you like, oh, shit.
All of a sudden, Stranger Things title appears on the screen.
Like, the hills have eyes.
I'm like, they only brought 2 flashlights in. You guys should have brought a few more flashlights.
And a few more sidearms. I mean, what the hell? So, yeah, that was definitely wild.
You know what, though? We fired first. I thought that was kind of like, wait a minute. We should have shot that guy. That was a little aggressive.
Well, he popped out with a machine gun.
Yeah, but they didn't tell him to stop. It was like, hold on, I'm not going to shoot you. No, we just fucking did it.
Well, they've been shoot. I can understand it because they actually shot first. Very first time they shot first.
Yeah, rules of engagement, right?
So, and all of a sudden the guy popped out. Yeah, and he's got he looks like he put on a face mask way too long. And he had the thing on there. It's like, oh my God.
And don't men usually shoot first anyway?
Well, at least that way we had it set to stun, but still.
Yeah, well.
That's a good point. He had it set to bullets.
Yeah, exactly.
Set to bullets. Really?
Yeah, that's no muy bueno.
No, but he got shot in the leg, and they says, well, we got to go. We can't really do anything right now. We'll be back. And while this is one thing I don't understand. They didn't even give a explanation why they couldn't beam him back.
Oh, they said they tried, but they couldn't go through the rock.
Yeah, it was too deep in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I must have,
because I was going to be all upset if they're like, oh, let's beam him out. And then they beam him out. I'm like, you can't do that for every episode.
Well, they can, but it just loses its luster after that.
So that's a good thing. Okay, well, we get this part. I guess unless anybody else has anything else to say, we're going to move on to the next. Uh-oh.
Hi, Captain. What happened? Did the Tribble Ghost go in your room?
Yeah. I didn't realize it was my lap. I was scratching, and it's like, oh, my God, I got a manscape. And I heard the Tribble scream. And then it jumped off my lap. So, yeah, that wasn't fun.
That wasn't the Tribble.
Sure, blame it on the Tribble, sir.
So
you can't blame everything on our ship on the Tribbles.
Well, technically. Okay, Act 2, Ghost Hunt. The Enterprise team regroups back at home base to figure out a strategy. The rest of the crew will continue their investigation while Archer and the Doctor return to rescue Reed. They find him along with a sick resident, which they promise to cure first in the name of good diplomatic relations. Reed is going to have to wait for that bullet to be removed.
I love it when Phlox and Archer get down to the planet, and then Archer's like, I'm here, and he's got his hands up, and Phlox like puts his hands up like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? What's going on? Yeah, why are we doing this? Yeah. It was really cute.
That was funny. Yeah, Phlox is hysterical.
Oh, yeah. I thought he brought the Doctor down just because of the big old grin. He's like, everyone loves him with that big old grin.
That's probably one reason, yeah.
The best person to meet that's like, the first contact.
Well, he brought him down for
Reed, yeah.
Reed,
Malcolm.
yeah.
Yeah, because, he's, gosh, he knows he's wounded, so yeah, bring a doc.
He wanted to be able to fix it. She's sitting there, don't know the condition of his leg. Thankfully, it didn't wind up hitting a major artery.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, it was interesting to see that. Well, first thing, can we just beam down there? No, we can't beam down there. It's too deep. Like, okay, how about if we somehow get into this cavern and bring stun grenades? And I thought, well, that's a good idea. Let's do that. But Archer is like suddenly realizing that he's fucked up pretty bad. And he doesn't want any more casualties. He's like, okay, maybe he's going to get the point that you shouldn't just go barging into somebody's cave.
Oh, finally.
Yeah, but later he's like on kind of doing a 180 on that.
Well, yeah, at that point, he realizes the problem he has, and he's trying to solve the problem. But at this point, he's like, how am I supposed to make first contact with aliens? And I can't even do it with our own humans.
Well, okay, step number 1, don't break into their ship or cave or home.
No, that's a no-no.
And if they don't want to talk to you, they don't want to talk to you.
Yes, seriously.
It's like having Latter-day Saints come to your front door. You just don't want to talk to them.
I have a friend that did that. He actually got them to not come to his door anymore. So we're going to segue a little bit because it's hysterical. He used to have the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Seventh-day Saints come to his door constantly, and he hated that. So what he did is one day he put on a wife beater, put stained blood on it, ketchup, had a kitchen knife, also put stained blood on the kitchen knife for vegetable coloring. When he knocked on her door, now mind you, he's 6'4", about 370. Big guy and stocky too. So when they knocked on the door, he swung the door open where he hit the thing and he went, "What? You have interrupted my sacrifice to Satan." and
they said, "Sorry, wrong house."
They took off running and screamed. And no lie, from that point on, whenever they came down the block, because I lived across the street, they'd stop just before his house, whisper, cross the street, go down, and then recross back over again, just so they would be near his house.
That's awesome. We've just got a sign on our door, "The witch is in," because my mother's a witch, but that's another story. They don't knock on our door very much since we put that thing up.
No, so that's hysterical. But yeah, but when he finally came down, and the Doctor, first off, I don't know if you guys remember the one who's supposed to be the patriarch of that group down there.
Erick Avari.
Anybody remember him?
Oh,
yeah.
I instantly recognized him. That was the favorite part of this episode, honestly, was getting him in this.
I know he's going to go, money way. Which was a line he had in Stargate.
He was in Stargate. He was in The Mummy. He was actually in Star Trek Next Generation in Unification 1, as well as DS9 Destiny. And also Independence Day. And he was in the show Heroes.
He's a great character actor.
Using a lot.
That's no Shale, man. So Erick Avari was also in Planet of the Apes, 2001 version with Marky Mark, which, we'll just kind of ignore that one.
I like Marky Mark, but that's me.
It just wasn't a great interpretation of Planet of the Apes. I mean, that's one of my favorite movies when I was a little kid.
But are you talking about like the original old school, or are you talking about Marky Mark?
With Roddy McDowall and Charlton Heston.
Okay, yeah, old school.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the 2001 one was, I don't know, it was a mess.
But talking about old school, these actors were some old school actors that were working a lot at that time. I mean, so many movies that Erick Avari was in. The woman that played his mom in this, Mary Carver, she's legend. She had over 70 years of acting in her life. She died at the age of 89 in 2013, but she was in a lot of stuff, and she was actually married to one of the Star Trek original series directors, according to Memory Alpha. So I just thought that was kind of cool. She's in the family. But these are actors that are doing doing all kinds of work throughout science fiction and drama and all that kind of stuff. It was really cool to see them both in Star Trek.
Yeah, she was in Arachnophobia.
I like that movie. That was a good movie.
It was, but we should get back on target because we're taking away material for some other podcast talking about actors.
Hey, this is our podcast. We can talk about what we want.
Yeah. But we figured out what happened with these people. These people are actually the descendants. They are actually human, and they call themselves the Novans. They don't like humans.
They don't like to live on the overside.
They don't. They have a very distinguished language. They talk about the overside. They talk about tracking an awful lot. They talk about the sky ship. And they don't like being gutted. They like to eat diggers. And
it's not shale.
They don't like to put up with your shale.
That's right. So we should do that at the convention next time if somebody says something like that. Like they get autographs for William Shatner.
What a bunch of shale.
That's shale.
You're full of shale, sir.
You just shale.
That's fracking shale, man.
You know?
It was bull shale, man.
And then snap.
It's Frelin shale.
Of course, we move the plot in different directions. It's very interesting the way the plot went on this show. You find out that the mother is sick. She's got lung cancer. But Phlox is like, I can cure that. Like, you can? That's awesome because they can't do that right now. No. Right now, they can't. They just can't cure it. They can do a lot of things. They can't cure it.
No,
it's like
they cannot.
If they could.
It's like having problems with your kidneys. They can't just give you a pill and you're walking next thing you know.
He cured it in 3 hours.
Yeah. Although I love, of course, that's in the next section, but her reaction to being scanned was hilarious.
She's all freaking out.
Nobody likes to be in a resonator. So but that's another thing. But yeah, he's like, I could fix her. So it's not a problem.
So they had an excuse to bring him on board the ship and, bring him onto their side of things and show some good faith,
And they weren't freaked out about the technology.
Yeah, so that was interesting.
They were still familiar about it because they got on board a shuttlecraft, which went to the way overside.
Yeah, very overside. You know what, though? I don't think it spun around and looked down. They were looking out the window. They were looking up at the Enterprise. And actually, it was a really cool angle. But it wasn't like they spun that sucker around and looked back down at the ground because that would have blown their minds.
I think they would have called that the upside instead of the overside.
Right. Far up.
What is that down there? That's your planet. That's Shale. So then he got him into the thing, and nobody likes, I don't know if anybody's had a MRI before, but nobody likes being in that resonator for long. Mm-mm. So that's why she was freaking out like that.
Well, plus, don't you have to remain still in an MRI? And she was probably like,
well, I thought it was a claustrophobic thing, except these people live in fucking caves. So she should probably just hanging out. Yeah. So she just didn't like the whole process. She didn't trust it or something.
Is she not used to that?
Yeah.
I guess not. She didn't like being in there. But Phlox, with his normal self, was able to diagnose what it is. And it's like, it's lymphatic cancer. It's easy. Just a couple of shots and it's done.
Just give you a little injection.
It's like, oh my God, that would be so cool. I would have many more people in my life today if they had something like that.
Oh, man.
Just stick it to her and we're good.
Yeah, really.
Well, Phlox is pretty good at sticking it. So, good for Phlox.
Oh, goodness. Should we move on to the next section, Captain?
Sure.
Yes. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Act 3, Ghost Rider. The resident Nadette is cured of cancer, and while they are waiting, Archer and the crew figure out the mystery behind what happened. An asteroid hit the planet 70 years ago, causing acid rain and the death of all the adults. Now their people are dying because they're drinking the contaminated water. Archer tries to convince them to move to a better neighborhood, but they just want to go home. Archer concedes and drives them home. When they're a mile from their house, a giant sinkhole opens up and engulfs them whole.
That's pretty wild. You would figure before they would land, they would at least kind of scan the ground to see if it could support the weight of the shuttlecraft.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it didn't. And it's like, okay, elevator to hell. Here we go.
I was like, wait, hold on. Where's Kevin Bacon? Tremors? What?
Yes.
We're going down, baby.
That's the reason why they inserted that new scanner in there that detects that in the future.
We can scan all kinds of stuff, but, the ground? Nah, that's just solid. We just assume the ground's... Yeah, whoops.
It's fine.
The ground is the ground. And then they had a moment of trust building where they finally get there and the guy's down. It's like, will you risk your life for him? Would you break your bone, risk breaking your bone for his bone?
It's like, hell yeah, but I can't get down from there.
And he's like, here, let me play Spider-Man and we'll get you down the wall.
Can we get like a ladder or something? That's a long way down to just kind of be slipping the sides.
Well, the only thing I thought would have made it a little bit better since they lived underground is if the old guy was able to like shimmy down like a monkey. Because if they're used to living underground, he should have been up and down and like nothing flat since they're used to being there. But was more sure-footed. But yeah, Archer was just like, I can't climb for nothing. So he almost lost his balance a couple of times.
Like, white man can't dance, white man can't climb.
Oh, God.
Now, this is what I'm confused a little bit. And somebody correct me because I might not have been observant. When they got down there and then Archer was like, give me the phase pistol. I thought Archer had his own phase pistol.
I thought so, too, because I thought Travis tossed him a phase pistol when they left.
He did. He did.
So there's a
what
continuity.
The hell happened to it?
Yeah, it's a continuity issue. Or maybe
he probably wanted to get the phase pistol back from the guy so that he didn't have, the tech.
I was just like, wait, you have one. Why are you asking for the other? So that confused me a little bit.
It threw me for a loop too. But the cool part of it is though, these two guys are like, all right, I'll help you move some wood here. We can pick this tree up. And there's no fucking way. It thing weighs more than the car. Well, let me chop it up, just he cuts it with the phaser. He's like, hand me the phaser. Trust me. Okay, I'll trust you. We're working together. I like the working together with your person that you don't entirely trust because we got a common goal to take care of. I love that. That's a Star Trek thing.
And they both working together got wood.
He's got wood.
Just a quick point. We are talking about the next section. Do you guys want to move on to the next section?
Are we?
I thought we were in that.
Yeah, we're talking about Act 4 and we're in Act 3.
Is that when the phaser comes out?
Wait.
You're right. Yeah, he does. That does happen. So they don't get to the guy in the tree. We did skip.
So that means we got to the part where they land and they do the rock and roll down to the bottom where Merryweather is like, I'm a leaf on the wind.
Yeah, so they land, but they don't quite get out yet, I think is where we're at. So we skipped ahead
they land, the sink hole opens up and it engulfs them and we're like, oh no, they died. And we don't see that,
Yeah. No, we didn't get a chance to talk yet about Reed. Reed's still sitting there, he's a guard.
He's enjoying the dinner of digger meat.
I think they're trying to get along as best they can. He's, rough and tumble, soldier type guy. He's like, hey, nice weapon, you guys. Is that the 33 or the 34? So it's like talking hardware. It's what guys like to do. They talk hardware sometimes.
The guy didn't know.
The caveman's like, humans are like damp moss. They rot on the underside. And it's like, oh, well, is that friendly? I guess he's trying to be friendly. He shares him some dinner.
Is your stomach empty?
The guy's like, well, what type of rifle is that? And the guy goes, I don't know. It's my boomstick.
Boomstick.
Boom.
He just wanted to share his meat with him. So,
Oh, well,
man. That's
kind of friendly.
That's a Star Trek After Dark.
It's nice calm meal. And then they start playing some jams. They start slow jamming because the band comes together and starts.
He got his own private concert.
They got serenaded. I mean, for crying out loud.
Oh, yeah. That was actually kind of cool in a way.
It was neat. I thought I was completely unexpected. And I was like, they're playing some tunes.
He was getting a little head.
Yeah.
They were playing seashell horns, it looked like.
Yeah. It was
cool. A digger head. It was a digger head.
Is that what that was?
Yeah. Oh, okay. It was a digger skeleton.
That's why I'm saying he got a little head.
Jeez.
Figures, Patrick, you would always think about that. You really got to get yourself some. Okay.
And then meanwhile, back on the ship, Archer is showing off the family album. It's like, here's your pictures. Right. We got it all right here. They blogged everything. Hello. It's all here on Facebook. Right. Here's your picture of your mom. Here's your picture of your dad. Here's a picture of,
It wouldn't be called Facebook. It would be called Spacebook.
Exactly.
Spacebook.
They got Spacebook.com and Zuckerberg is taking care of it all.
And he's like, and that's you as a little girl. And the guy's like, Shale is not you.
I love how they say it. Was it hide your drawings? Is that what he said?
Yeah, bury.
Yeah, bury your drawings.
Bury your drawings.
Bury your drawings.
I was like, but they're nice, high resolution drawings. They look pretty good. You can zoom in and get all the detail. He's not impressed.
It was like, bury your drawings. Yeah, we did skip over that part, but yeah. But you saw that she looked at it and she's like, I think I remember. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it starts to jog her memory, and they figure out the whole poison from rain thing. So acid rain issue.
Okay, so before we move on, this is the first episode that names Phlox's species on screen. Do you guys know his species?
Denobulan. But wait a minute. I thought in the first episode they said he was a Denobulan.
I thought so too, but I'm like not going to argue. Not with Heather, but with the...
I'm blaming Memory Alpha.
The Memory Alpha I wasn't going to argue with. I'll argue with Heather, but it's like you can try to talk to that wall. You're not going to change its mind either. But
Okay.
I don't think it was. Yeah, I don't recall, Heather, either that his race was mentioned in the beginning. I'm gonna have to rewatch. I think you're right, and think Memory Alpha might be right, but I don't know.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Act 4, Ghostbusters. Luckily, the shuttle fell in one of those tunnels, so they were able to open the door and walk right out. During the tunnel collapse, one of the young boys is stuck under a tree, got wood, and Archer helps save him. Upon returning, the matriarch announces that she believes Archer's tales from the past and has changed her mind. They are moving to the tropical islands. Woohoo! Afterwards, the Enterprise crew is congratulating themselves on a job well done. Archer pulls a fast one on Travis, convincing him to do all of his paperwork with a promise that his name will be placed in the history books for solving this mystery. Now he can have a Friday night off.
Damn, now you guys know how I get Patrick to do all of the paperwork.
Is that how you do that?
Oh, you're really excited about this subject. You want to write about it?
Yeah. Now, the one thing that kind of got me towards the end, it felt like it wrapped up way too quick. It felt like we don't know where to go from here, so let's just end it.
I agree with you because all it took was her changing her mind. Like, that's all it took. Like, you built up, and then it was like, oh, I changed my mind. I agree with you. We're moving. Yay.
Yeah,
and
it was
like,
what? It was a little quick. The show's only so long. It's a TV show. They have to cut it out at some point. So you missed all the arguing about it and let's deliberate. Let's take a vote. They did none of that shit. They did none of that Shale. They just said, okay, maybe we should move. Maybe we are humans and we should, we're going to Cancun.
But there was no agreement. There was no agreement to move to the southern island. She just said, "Why don't you tell them about what he said?" But there was no actual agreement that they were going to move. There was no.
Yeah,
they didn't see
show
them
any
move.
of that. It was kind of assumed this is what was happening because they kind of painted the picture for you. Here's the solution. We're actually going to do this because they argued about should we, stun grenade their asses and move them that way or take them back to Earth. And they're like, T'Pol is even like, no, you don't want to take these people back to Earth because they're used to living in the caves. They don't want to hang out on, learn how to education and get jobs and go to work and be part of civilization. They're doing their own thing. They've got their own culture.
And it worked because in Discovery, if you notice when they first landed, that building that looked like the church was almost the exact same building that in Discovery where they had the light on the inside and the guy who was watching for the sky for people to return. I don't recall the name of the episode, but remember they went and pretended they were religious. And that was one of the places that Michael Burnham as the Red Angel had took him to.
Oh, yeah.
And they had the guy who secretly was sent the signal in the bottom of the basement of the church.
Okay, I'm sorry. What does that have to do with this episode?
The building that when they first beamed down to the planet looked exactly like the church, the barn, which they went in Discovery.
Oh.
So we know they survived and set up a new colony because Michael found it later.
That's a question because I'd mentioned this last week because I thought Terra Nova sounded like the same thing. We're talking about Terralysium now,
Terralysium,
right?
yeah. Terralysium.
You know what?
Oh, okay.
Never mind.
Crackhead.
Those church buildings, they all look alike.
And Patrick, since I messed up so bad, do you want to write the report up on this one?
No.
All your mess ups, you got Patrick right because he likes to write about that.
No. But what I thought was interesting, though, is Archer's like, well, we're going to take him back to Earth. And T'Pol's like, hello? And Archer's like, no, that's the right thing to do. Like the audacity of him assuming that he knows what's best for these people was one of the things that struck me about this episode.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like, we're here to help. We want to help somebody. We have the best intentions. But
we know best.
And they're completely ignoring the other side of the equation. It's like, they kind of like caves and they've made it their life here and they got a thing going.
Like bigger meat.
Yeah, I like that Archer turned his brain around and decided, well, why don't we just move them on? Is the radiation on the entire planet? Well, what about the southern hemisphere? Yeah, let's move them over there.
Yeah, that was a smart thing for him to realize it.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I kind of like the fact of seeing this was LeVar Burton's first job as directing, because as he's direct other episodes, you can see his skill grows as a director. Mm-hmm. So, which was nice.
The real truth of the story behind it and all was the lady, she figured it out in her head. This is what actually happened. She said, yeah, sure, we're going to move over there. Yeah, that's great. And then the Enterprise crew all celebrates and they get all happy and excited. And then they leave before the other people leave. And then as soon as the Enterprise people leave, she's like, oh, I was just bullshitting them. I just said that just to get them to leave.
Get rid of them.
Yeah, just to get rid of them. And then they stay there.
Seriously, they left. Okay, we're going to move. Sure.
Yeah.
Are they gone yet?
Right.
I want some BBQ'd Digger.
Yummy.
Okay, who's up for a party?
I thought it was interesting. They talked about it at the end of the show. They do this thing on Enterprise a lot. They have the little chat at the end, whether it's in Archer's office or they're sitting around the dinner table, they're chatting. They kind of talk about, kind of resolve it all. And they kind of tease the other mysteries of the world. They start telling Travis is telling more of his stories. He's got his ghost stories. Talking about Amelia Earhart. They never found her. Well, they found her and it was in Star Trek Voyager. If you haven't seen that yet, spoiler alert. Yep. It starts with an old Ford or Chevy or something like that. A pickup truck in the middle of space in the Delta Quadrant. Crazy.
And the episode name is The 37s.
The 37s.
Yep.
I was looking a little in Memory Alpha, as I do sometimes. Rick Berman was quoted as saying, this was the first bad script, the first bad episode of Enterprise. It didn't go anywhere. It was a bad story to him. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it wasn't the most exciting, wonderful, mind-blowing episode of Star Trek, but it had those key Star Trek things. It had the things to think about, do we help these people? Or are we actually helping them? Maybe they don't need your help. Maybe we need to think about that. Maybe there's another solution. Maybe we work together instead of fight each other. We can get shit done. We can save people. We can do wonderful things if we work together. I love all the morality stuff in this episode. Did it, you hear this story is like the story of Terra Nova. They were never heard from again. It took 9 years to get there, 9 years back, and we never heard from them again. And it's a fascinating, so many different ways the story could have gone, and a lot better ways that the story could have gone. I will admit and agree with that, but I don't think it's a bad episode. I thought it was pretty good.
Well, it's like comparing something. I mean, if you have someone makes you a flan, and the flan is okay, but that's the only flan you have no idea of how good flan could be. So you think this is really good flan. And then somebody makes you, really good flan. Then you're like, oh my God, the flan I had, that was crap. But on its own, it may not have been crap. It's just that you
like
get
Lola Falana.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that. You have something that now that you have a way to measure against it, and then you go, okay, that show wasn't really good, but it's compared to everything else that was out back then. I mean, you can't compare the original Battlestar Galactica with the new one. You could say some of that stuff was crap. That's a midget in a dog suit.
Oh my.
That was good stuff in the 80s, though. In the 70s and 80s, that was hot.
Yeah, but now... Yeah, but now you look back at it and go, oh my God, that's crap. But back then, you were like, whoa, that was good.
I don't know. My mouth dropped when I saw him in a Tribble suit.
It was actually, he was a Tribble warrior, and those are the corpses that he skinned to make his suit out of. And this is why you kids shouldn't listen.
That's how they did Ewoks too, right? They just skinned Tribbles.
Man.
No. Many Tribbles died to make an Ewok.
That's true. That's what happens if you eat too many Tribbles, you turn into an Ewok.
Don't eat the Tribbles.
Luke, I am a Tribble.
Don't eat the Tribbles.
That's funny. It's like, is this your fourth Tribble meal? And then you go, what? Like, what the hell happened to your voice? So, yeah, that was pretty bad. I'm sorry.
Start climbing the trees and swinging and yeah.
This was a decent episode, but I have a question for you, Heather.
Yes.
What's next week's?
Next week is season 1, episode 7, The Andorian Incident.
Ooh. Andorian's back. Don't be blue. This is going to be cool.
If I'm not mistaken, this is the one where the Andorians are spying.
Was it the Andorians or was it the Vulcans that were spying on the Andorians?
Oh, right. No, you're right.
Did you see our friend Todd Stashwick in the next one?
I believe he was in this one, wasn't he?
We'll have to tune in and find out.
Oh, yeah, please. Next week, make sure you guys go ahead and tune in and watch us.
No, Todd's not in this one.
Oh.
Okay, but he will be.
Spoiler, thanks.
So he will be.
No, I think Todd's in a later season.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But
we'll actually have to have him on when we do that episode.
Yeah, but we have to ask him this way. We should have asked him back when he had his GoFundMe thing going on. But maybe he'll have another stuff going and we can promote it. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for joining us for another wonderful episode of Starfleet Underground. And please go out there, be careful, and just don't have a great week, but make it so.
Starfleet Underground, beaming into a podcast feed near you. Log on to our website at starfleetunderground.com and send your comments and questions to thecollective@starfleetunderground.com. Follow us on Twitter at StarfleetUnderG and on Facebook and Instagram, we're Starfleet Underground.